States have moved to allow crimes of homosexuality to be expunged from people's records. Today, Victoria went one step further. In what's believed to be a world first, that state's premier apologised to men who were convicted of homosexual crimes. Madeline Morris reports.
I just turned 17 and I was aware of myself being different. I was aware that I was attracted to men, and the area around where my Sea Scout hall was seemed to be rather full of men. And I was there in bushes. I'd met a man. I don't know quite what we were doing. We were fondling or something. Then suddenly the bushes opened. There'd been police up on the cliff top, and they pounced and pulled us apart and dragged us along the beach in front of everyone up to a paddy wagon, and they said I was to be charged.
I was a boy from the country, came to Melbourne when I was 17, and at one stage when I was 18, boarding at the YMCA. I met another boy there, and then we would go and park along Richmond Boulevard, which was a popular spot for everybody, straight mainly. And on one occasion, one night, a torchlight came through the window of the car. There's a knock on the door, and there's a young policeman. Then I was charged, as my friend was too, on 2 counts of gross indecency with a male. Yes, on the advice of...
Terry Kennedy and Peter McEwen were just 2 of the thousands of Australian men prosecuted for what was the crime of being gay. Lobbying and protests against gay discrimination forced decriminalisation in 1981 in Victoria. Until then, homosexual acts carried a potential 15-year jail term. But just as devastating was the social cost.
People lost their jobs, they lost their houses, they became homeless, they lost their families. Often gay men had been conned, bullied into getting married to women, and that was cruel to the women as well. So look, it was awful.
Terry. Peter? Hello. Good to see you.
Like so many men, Peter and Terry's lives were profoundly impacted by their convictions.
I was still at school, and it was okay until my name got splattered across the front page of Truth. And I just denied it. I just totally denied it.
After his name and address was splashed in the press, Peter's mother was abused in the street and his parents shunned at their Catholic church. Were you ashamed?
Yes, absolutely. Because I had the judgments of everyone on me. I was told by the church that I was sinful, the law that I was illegal, by the psychiatrists that I was sick, by the media that I was a pervert. So there's a series of judgments, and I had nothing to counter that. So I took it on board. I was all those things.
Terry's conviction started a lifelong lie.
At the time I was studying accounting, and I eventually passed my exams and had to formally apply for membership as a chartered accountant. And on the form it mentions, do you have a criminal conviction? And suddenly I thought, here we go. If I say this, all my years of study are wasted. So I lied and said I didn't, and so I was admitted.
There was also a more profound hiding of a truth, a long denial of who he was.
Because what actually happened from the age of 18 till I was about 30, I led a heterosexual life. I married, subsequently divorced, not over my sexuality. So I just sublimated the whole thing.
In September last year, the law in Victoria changed to allow people convicted of homosexual crimes to have their record expunged. Today, the government went one step further in what's believed to be a world first.
On behalf of the Parliament, the Government and the people of Victoria, for the laws we passed and the lives we ruined and the standards we set, we are so sorry.
For the hurt, the tears, the unnecessary sadness and abuse, we apologise for this Parliament having ever made those laws.
We criminalised homosexual thoughts and deeds. We validated homophobic words and acts. and we set the tone for a society that ruthlessly punished the differences with a short sentence in prison and a life sentence of shame. From now on, that shame speaker is ours.
So how was it?
It was so moving. It really was. It was so powerful, far more than I expected.
It's the beginning of the healing process for me in many ways. I mean, it's, I guess you never get over it, but it's like a weight off my shoulders, a certain freedom and hope for the next generation and the generation to follow.
Okay.
Surrounded by his family, who never talked of his conviction at the time, Peter too sees today's apology as a beacon of hope for future generations.
And for them to live in a community that says to them, it's okay to be different, you are okay and you are good. That is the most powerful message, and that is really what Parliament is doing today.